I am on a mission to get to know as many Dead by Daylight creators as I possibly can, and in that vein, I have started this series called Conversations by Daylight. And today, I am joined by the king of DBD experiments, Kaido. Kaido, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. So, for people out there who might not know who you are, you want to give them a little intro to your content and stuff?
Yeah, so I am a DBD content creator. I mostly do YouTube. I just enjoy the evergreen nature of it. But I don't know. I do a lot of ranking opinion-based videos, which you know, is is contentious among the community sometimes. But I pride myself on doing these like huge, ambitious experiment videos or just like really creative and unique ideas and putting my heart and soul into them. And that's I feel like what I'm quote unquote most known for.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think out of all of us in the community, your passion is unmatched.
Thank
I,
you, thank
I
you.
I don't think a single other creator matches your your passion and the time and effort you put into your projects.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot, especially being in college and whatnot. It's hard to manage doing those videos that take 150 plus hours to edit and stuff.
Yep. No, for
It's
sure.
pretty painful,
For sure.
but it's worth it.
Especially when you can't hire somebody else to do the
Yeah, exactly.
if for those of you unaware how this works, I'm going to ask 10 questions I wrote myself, and then I'll ask 10 questions that we pulled to the community, and then we'll do a couple of wrap up final thoughts. But there's no structure here. We're not going on a script. It's just kind of, we talk about what we talk about each subject, and this could almost be called a podcast if I was motivated enough to upload it to actual podcasting websites. So for our first question for today, what was the first time you ever decided to make a DBD video, and why did you make it?
Oh man. Okay, so I started getting like a little more quote unquote popular when I was making Fortnite content back in the day during like peak Fortnite. Um I would also do kind of similar ranking style videos. But then as Fortnite kind of fell off, my channel also fell off. Um so I started just kind of making variety content and figuring out what I wanted to do. So I had this whole like probably year or two period of just putting out the most random videos I could think of, and they had no cohesiveness. Like they were completely different from each other, and they would get less than 1,000 views per video. And I did that for probably about a year or two, I would say, um, until my friend introduced me to DBD, and there was a free weekend, I believe, where I could try it out, and I just really liked it. Like I loved the kind of cat and mouse gameplay of it.
Hmm.
So I decided to make a video on it. I think it was it. Oh gosh, I can't even remember the first video. I think it was maybe on some PTB, like Blight's PTB or something. But yeah. So I kind of sprinkled in some DBD, tested it out a bit, see if I liked it. But then one day I was just like, I see a lot of potential in this game and I want to actually grow as a creator. So I just wanted to stick with it and like do one consistent game and
Hmm.
hopefully grow an audience within that. Um, so yeah, it's probably been 3 years, maybe four, since switching to like fully DBD content, but obviously I feel like it was the right decision.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. That even kind of happened with me because up until the how to fix Trapper video, this my channel was a variety.
Oh yeah.
I was posting Apex and Fortnite and Valorant and Overwatch, and then I was actually on my way to be an Overwatch 2 creator
Mhm.
when it was about Halloween, October 2022. And I was like, "Oh, I bought this Dead by Daylight game like a year ago and I've never booted it up." So, I was like, "Hey, it's Halloween. Let's play a horror game." And I've been hooked ever since.
They get you. They get
This
you.
is fucking bullshit, man. Fucking I booted it up and I was like, "Ghostface is in this game. That's my favorite slasher." And now I don't even play the fucker cuz he's so bad.
Yeah, seriously.
Um so our next question is, what is a DBD take you'll defend with everything you have?
Oh man. Ooh. I I gotta think about this one for a second. I'm gonna say I enjoy playing against Hag, and I know that 99% of people don't, but to me, it's like it's such a push-pull dynamic, like this tug
Hmm.
of war dynamic
Yeah.
within the game, playing as and against.
Oh yeah.
Because like if you're playing against the Hag, you constantly need to have someone pressuring her traps on one end of the map or the other, so that she doesn't get the web set up.
Yeah.
And I find that to be very interesting and unique to this character, and it's also not exactly like uncounterable, unless it's a Rusty Shackles Hag. That's a that's a bit different. But like regular hags that don't just camp the entire time,
Yeah.
um, I feel like are actually genuinely fun to go against. Um, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing that I have. I also really enjoy playing as the hag for the same exact reason, and I also like spamming my control key for some reason. But
Yeah. No,
yeah, I would say that one.
I've recently picked up playing her a lot more, and I love her. I love her to death.
Hmm.
I run the
Yeah.
double range add-ons, so I can fucking
Uh huh.
teleport from halfway
Yep.
across the map with
Yep.
Devour, and it's the funniest fucking thing in the goddamn world.
you
Um,
know, I
I don't.
actually think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't disagree with you at all. I think playing against her is
That's
fun.
that's great to hear. I know we're in the minority. I was gonna say I actually think I might have a little bit of a bias because when I was learning this game, I decided it would be a good idea to learn like the more complex stuff on DBD mobile because it was a lot easier. So I would learn like the killer's powers and stuff there, and then be able to translate that into PC gameplay. But the first killer I ever got on DBD mobile was the Hag, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it. But I don't
It
know.
might I mean, like I agree. Like I really like the dynamic of like having to use your brain against the hag.
Yeah,
Um, of course, the thing about the Dead by Daylight community, not to sound like an asshole. I mean, I am, but not to sound like one. But the thing about the Dead by Daylight community is they don't like to think. So
yep,
if a killer's power is more complicated than hold W around a loop, they get really annoyed with them.
yeah,
And so when it comes to the someone like the hag where you have to like crouch and wipe her traps away and use your brain about what you're doing, it a lot of people don't like that, I've discovered, but
for
I
sure.
love it. I fucking love it. My take is corrupt intervention is not a good perk.
You know, I'm inclined to agree with you a little bit after the nerf. I think it was for sure before the nerf.
What was it
After I just don't use it anymore, so honestly I couldn't even tell you.
what was its nerf?
Um After you down a survivor, I want to say, it just completely deactivates. But it
Oh,
used to be just straight up I think 3 minutes is what it used to be for
oh,
the beginning of the match.
fucking hell. Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
I didn't play that version of corrupt. Yeah, no, when
Oh
I
yeah, that was like probably the best killer perk in the game at the
That's
time.
that's actually insane. My idea
Mhm.
for it was to make it to where it still has its current effect, but it acts like a lethal pursuer for gen blocking, where gens are
Mm.
blocked for like an extra 5 seconds whenever it would go away. I thought that would be a
Mm.
cool buff. But like as it stands right now, my views on corrupt intervention is that it's just oh no, you block that gen. Too bad they can't just go to another one, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it kind of helps slow down that beginning game because that's when you lose, or that's when you have no pressure. But I don't know. It definitely used to be way better than it is now.
That's fair. Um Something that's always been on my mind, like I said, I don't think anybody in the community matches your passion and your effort in videos. Like I know some there's people like Mint and Ots that put a lot of time and effort, but I don't think
Mm.
anybody has content like quite on your level. So my question is, how long from concept to finished product does your videos take to make on average?
Oh gosh. It very much depends. I I would say usually I start to kind of think of a concept and start to kind of brainstorm what I want to do, and that usually takes around a month. But it's like it's very random when I randomly get like passion for these huge projects because they
Hmm.
just pop into my mind out of nowhere. Like I'll just be in the shower once and they just like suddenly come to my brain. um, so it's very sporadic and very random, but usually it takes a month or two, I would say, to like plan it and kind of figure out how to make it interesting and how to make it engaging. And then recording, I have to get other creators or whatnot, which is always a big hassle because of time zones and they're all super busy. Um, and then the editing process is what takes the longest by far. Like, there's like I did a speed experiment
Hmm.
with 6 other creators, and that took me, I think, 4 to 6 months to edit because it
Jesus.
was 6 POVs. It was 12 hours of gameplay, and it was a lot. But
That's one of those ones where like every time you think about editing it, you're like,
yeah, no,
ugh.
I was getting very very burnt out. And because it was that on top of doing work for school
Hmm.
and on top of regular social life stuff, so it's a lot. But yeah, like even and I keep trying to one up myself because I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
So like this event that I'm running this summer, I've been planning since last year. Like it's been um, probably more than 6 months of just planning because it's a complete logistical nightmare. And it's probably going to be about 6 months to edit too. I would say.
It's probably going to be a banger when it comes out.
I sure hope so.
The speed experiment is one of my favorite videos of yours. I rewatch
Thank
that
you.
one from time to time because it's just so funny to listen to the creators like panic as they try to figure out
Uh-huh.
what the fuck they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I love it.
um
Yeah, that's probably my favorite on my channel. Honestly,
yeah,
I think that's the one I've put the most effort into.
it was well worth it. It was well worth the effort. It was very entertaining to watch. I love it.
Thank you.
What's the biggest piece of advice you would give budding Dead by Daylight creators?
Honestly, just don't give up. Like I know that's like such a cheesy thing to say, but content creation is so brutal nowadays.
Oh God.
Like everyone everyone looks at their numbers and it's gonna have mostly downs, especially at the start. But
Hmm.
like if you're in it for the numbers, you should just leave now, to be honest. Like you have to be if if you want to create content, you have to enjoy the process of creating content or you're just gonna get burnt out entirely. Um
100%.
and even on lows, like channel lows, it doesn't change the fact that you can come back from that. Like I said earlier, I had that entire 1 or 2 years where I was getting less than 1,000 views on every single video. Um, and if you just keep sticking with it, you're gonna get better every single video. You're gonna edit better. You're gonna commentate better. And the more you do it, the better you get, and inevitably you're gonna grow. At least that's my opinion. Um, so yeah, I think just stick with it. Honestly, in in my opinion, don't look at analytics if you can avoid it, especially not the 1 of 10, 9 of 10, all that stuff.
Oh,
Um,
that 1 of 10 shit is so annoying.
yeah, yeah, I turn that off. Like on PC, you can click the little arrow next to it and it hides it on your YouTube Studio. On
Oh,
mobile, I literally, if I ever go on YouTube Studio, I spam click just the comment button,
uh-huh.
or the comment tab so that I don't even see it.
I
Because
didn't
there's really no point.
I didn't know you could turn it off. I'm turning that off because
Yeah,
I hate that fucking thing.
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like even like more recently, I got my morale got put to the test because like
Mhm,
for a while my videos were doing like 2.5, 3, 4, 5,000 views every video,
mhm,
and then all of a sudden they dropped to like I would be lucky to break 1.5K, and I
mhm.
started like doubting myself, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, should like am I washed?" Like,
Yeah.
but then this week, all the videos I posted this week have all broken 2K easily, 4K, 3, 5K. Like it's like, oh, okay, cool. We're getting back. It was just little.
Yeah.
I think the 7.7.1 patch really fucked us creators because
Might have.
like a lot of people were just like done with Dead by Daylight, but now that
Mhm.
like the anniversary chapter's coming up, everybody's like coming back to it.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just were like, I'm not playing this game because it's fucking broken right now.
Yeah. Well, also like view counts and analytics can completely change out of your own control too. Like it could just be a busy day for someone so they can't watch a YouTube video and then they miss it and then the algorithm is like, "Oh, they didn't want to watch this video or something." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there's just such randomness to it
Hmm.
and especially going back to the out of 10 thing, I've had videos that are 10 of 10s for like 2 months and then randomly jump up to a 1 of 10. Like, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
at all. They can completely change way down the line. I've had shorts that have, like, less than 10,000 views, and then 6 months later, they have more than 1,000,000. Like, it's
Yeah.
completely random.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll take you by
I
surprise.
yeah, for sure. So I just don't recommend. There's some analytics like, CTR, click-through rate, and average view duration that you should look at because you should be always trying to improve that, but other than that,
Yeah,
I don't know.
average view duration is my big one. That's the one I look at the
Mhm.
most. I try to see, how
Yeah.
often people are watching. That's how I do my videos. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, where did they lose engagement here? Okay, let me go see what, could have happened. And
Yep, and that's that's the perfect thing to do.
yeah, most of the time it's my editing. Most of the time I forget to edit out like a long pause or something, and it's like, oh, that's where they
Uh, yeah, TikTok brains.
Yeah.
Can't have any pauses.
Um, given the opportunity to bring one quality of life change to the game, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I would honestly just say more graphic settings. I know that's, like, repeated by literally every single DBD player,
Hmm.
um, but I don't think we should be required to go into the game files to change specific graphics.
Or download
Um
fucking reshade.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should have a gamma slider, a saturation slider. I'm glad that they have the FOV slider now. And I definitely feel like they've been getting better at doing quality of life stuff lately.
Hmm.
Um, Granted, it does take them quite a long time to implement, but game dev is hard, so
Yeah.
it happens. But yeah, I would say just like even the simple stuff like anti-aliasing and shadows. I definitely think that should be fully customizable if they're able to do that. And I have a feeling that with the upgrade to UE5, they might be able to start implementing more quality of life features. Um, Hopefully, Unreal 5 makes the performance better, which it seems to have besides all the teleporting stuff. But
Yeah. I and
yeah,
and
that would be my answer.
I think like I've been playing and I haven't really noticed any stuttering in the past, I'd say probably
Hmm.
week and a half or so. So it
Yeah.
seems to all pretty much be gone.
Yeah, I
My,
haven't noticed anything either.
mine would be a replay viewer.
Yeah, that would be
I
nice, wouldn't it?
I was that would be that would be not only would
Yeah.
it be good for like just in general, because
Mhm.
if you want to improve at the game or if something looked a little sus or something didn't feel right, you could go back and
Yep.
watch it. But like for me, like as a content creator, sometimes I forget to hit record before a game starts, and then it's
Yeah.
a really good game, and pulling your stuff from your Twitch VODs is never going to
Uh-huh.
produce the same amount of quality as locally
Absolutely.
recording it. Um,
Yeah, that would be great. I just know those are like that's like the hardest thing to implement in any video game ever, so
yeah,
I couldn't see them adding that to be honest.
yeah. Even Overwatch, his spectator replayer viewer has like spectator
Mhm.
bugs and shit all over the place.
Yeah.
How far in content creation do you plan to go? Like, I know you're in college right now. Are you planning on a different career after you graduate, or has content creation just become a staple of your life?
It has pretty much become a staple of my life, because I've been doing it since I was like 13 or 14. But I don't know. Like I'm gonna try to write it and see how long it takes me. But or how far it takes me. But I do kind of have like backup plans of what I want to do. I'm studying film production, so anywhere really in the entertainment space I'd like to be in. because I just love the process of creating, cool shit for people to enjoy.
Yeah.
I've also been teaching myself game development since last year, and my minor has a lot of game development classes, so I'm trying to like get a well-rounded understanding of every aspect of the entertainment industry so that I have various multiple options.
You know what was crazy? You said film major, and like suddenly
Mhm.
a puzzle piece clicked in my brain because whenever I watch your experiment videos and you do the scenarios and everything, you map all that
Mhm.
out. I'm like these are so well coordinated and choreographed, and I was like, it's like I'm watching something that was like storyboarded or something. And then as soon as you
Yeah.
said film major, I was like, oh yeah, that makes way more sense now.
Yeah, I try to make them as like cinematic, quote unquote, as possible.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the influence of
Mhm.
filmmaking in those. So
For sure.
that's a fun thing to find out. How often do you get idea blocked? Like you try to think of a video ideas and they just won't fucking come to you. Can't figure out what you want to
Literally every
use.
week. Like it is that is the single most exhausting thing that burns me out is trying to come up with video ideas. Um I would say the thing that helps me the most, surprisingly,
Mhm,
okay, for like my quote unquote filler content of like ranking videos and such, in between all my like huge ambitious videos, um, honestly, just watching YouTube and making videos that I know that I would watch,
mhm.
that tends to be what helps me come up with videos. Like, because you can take concepts from creators doing certain ideas in other games and apply it to DBD and kind of twist it with your own way, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I would say for big videos, it's super weird, and I don't know if it would work for other people. But I'm subscribed to like four music subscription services for like YouTube
Mhm.
music, and I will literally just go into those and listen to music and try to find cool music. And usually that sparks an idea because it like gets a story in my head and what I want to see. And it kind of helps me figure out how to turn that story, so to speak, in my head into an actual game mode to play or to have other people play. It's super weird. I don't know why it works, but it
That's
works for me.
such an interesting catalyst because I'm the same
Uh-huh.
way. I'm the same way as you. It's literally every fucking week. Like every week, I'll stress for like 2 or 3 days. Like shit, I'm not gonna have a week's
Yeah.
worth of videos this time. Like there's no way daily uploads are gonna have to stop. Like I'm not gonna. And then
Mhm.
like in the last like 3 days of the week, I'm like, got it, and I just fucking speed everything.
Yeah.
ADHD go burr. But like my inspirations normally come from just like talking to chat or browsing Reddit. Like people
Mhm.
are all the time, they're like, "Where do you get your video ideas from?" Like this is such a unique thing to talk about. I'm like, bro, I'm on the internet too damn much.
Yeah.
So I'll see a
Yeah.
Reddit post that'll say like some random out of pocket shit, and I'm like, that could be a good video.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
It's
it's
good.
like yeah. Um, so the for my next question, you've collaborated with some of the biggest names in DBD space, including
Mhm.
literally fucking Ots Darva. I think on several occasions you've collaborated with Ots, like very,
Yeah, I've
very,
had a
very.
couple videos. Yeah.
Is there anyone you haven't gotten to work with yet that you want to?
Oh, yeah. So many people. I mean, like, I wanna meet as many creators in the space as possible. Um, there there's a lot of people that I didn't even know existed because there's a lot of huge DVD Twitch streamers, and I don't watch Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
that don't really post YouTube content, so I don't even know of their existence sometimes.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I whenever I do collaborative videos, I tend to reach out to people I've already worked with because I know I kind of like, have an understanding of how to work with them and what they need from me and what I need from them. But yeah, I'd love to, collaborate with a lot more creators and get to know people. Um, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this 100 player experiment in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
is just to like try to reach out to even more people
Right.
than I currently know. Um, And yeah, I have a couple videos cooking where I'm reaching out to other creators that I've never even spoken to before. But yeah, I mean, there's no one I don't want to meet. You know,
Yeah,
like
I feel you
I
on
wouldn't
that
mind
one.
meeting people.
I guess a little bonus tie-in. When it came to like approaching like bigger creators like Otts himself, were you like really nervous when you first messaged him, or was it kind of
Oh
like
yeah, absolutely.
like he's not this kind of person, but I always feel like if I ever reached out to him to do like one of these interview type things, he would just look
Hmm.
at it and go, "Who the fuck is this?" and just like ignore it. Like I know he's not that kind of person, but like that's like my
uh,
anxiety talking because like he's just so fucking. He seems unreachable.
yeah,
But when you talk to him, he's just the most down to earth like fucking dude like you've ever seen in your life.
yeah, he is super super nice. Like definitely one of the nicest people I've met. I mean, we haven't talked much, but yeah, he's very very nice and respectful. Honestly, it goes the same with a lot of the content creators that I've met. Like it's it was definitely nerve-wracking at first because I mostly did my own content for the first year or two of DBD, I think. I
Hmm.
never I hadn't collaborated with anyone my entire YouTube career.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started a series that I call like DBD Manhunt.
Hmm.
Um, and that's when I started reaching out to other creators for the first time and being like, would you potentially want to, work with me on this and create this cool video? And from there, I just kind of, you know, met other people, met mutuals, and then they would invite me to certain things. And then um, private server, I feel like is when we had the most like strongest community.
Yeah.
So like during when we could make 2v8 videos and the tiny survivor videos and stuff like that. That's when I met the most amount of creators, and hopefully that comes back eventually. But unfortunately, I think that is gone for now.
Yeah, I actually did not know about the private server.
Oh yeah.
A chatter came in, Nafara,
Hmm.
was telling me about it because we were, like I said, we were watching your experiment video before this call on stream, and
Hmm.
Nafara came in. They're like, "Oh, I was in this video." I was like, "Wait, what?" And they were telling me about what did this private server like get shut down by behavior or?
No, I think it just broke with updates or like whoever was running it didn't upkeep the servers or something. I honestly don't know exactly. Um but yeah, it was really unfortunate because it was the most helpful tool to create content with. Like we were able to use free cam and stuff. And yeah, it was just so helpful, and it was I wished that it was back, honestly.
That's something I've always like thought about how much I would like need I wish I could have something to free cam around with. And
Yep.
you could do so like there's so much and that's why I wanted the replay viewer because like I watch a
Hmm.
lot of Overwatch content even though I don't play the
Hmm.
game as much anymore, and like having the replay viewer and being able to like free cam around and stuff, you could make so much like funny stuff or cinematic stuff or
Yep.
just it would be so helpful.
Yeah, it was definitely like you just had so much more creative potential with the private server, and having to make unique videos that haven't been done before with the vanilla DBD is super super hard.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Next question. Do you ever feel pressured when making content? Like, is there ever a time when you're stressed over whether or not the content won't be good enough?
Oh yeah, every single video. It's it's hard because like I'm kind of like I said earlier, I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I always want everything to be perfect. But with college, I'm not able to spend a lot of time on videos that I would like to because I have so many other responsibilities that I need to attend to. So sometimes I just have to put out a video even though I know that there's mistakes in them. Um, and a lot of times that's to my detriment. Like I've made mistakes that people will like post on Twitter and be like, "Oh, this guy's no idea what he was talking about," but
Hmm.
they don't know that it was just a mistake that I made
Yeah.
because I didn't have time to fix it because I had an exam, or I had to study for this or that, or I had a project, or I was on set all weekend. So a lot of that stresses me out because it's difficult to make everyone happy in the DVD community to
Oh
begin
yeah,
with.
it's
Much
impossible.
less when yeah, much less when you make editing mistakes that clearly like I don't know how to describe it. Like goes in their favor kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that's probably like my biggest thing. I actually have a video coming out. Don't be surprised when you see your profile picture on the thumbnail, but I have a video coming out I think tomorrow as of us recording this
Mhm.
about like the hardest thing about DBD content creation, and it's basically about how people like to nitpick or strawman or do whatever they can to make you specifically look stupid as a commentator.
Yep, for
And
sure.
that's what that whole video is about. It's just like I deal with it every single video. Like every
Mhm.
video I post has somebody in the comments just either nitpicking or they're misrepresenting me or and it's I have of course I'm not your size, right? So like I'm not at the
Mhm.
point where people are like screen capping me on Twitter or some shit, but like I'm waiting for the day where I like boot up Twitter and I just see a random photo from my video and people are like,
Yep.
"Oh, look at this fucking idiot," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, guys,
Mhm. Yeah,
I."
that is the like worst possible thing about this job in my opinion. Like to the point where I've deleted Twitter off my phone. Like I still post every once in a while, but I
Mhm.
try not to go on it at all because it's just the most insufferable people that
Yeah,
exist that are only there to make themselves feel better by bullying other people essentially.
yeah,
Um obviously there's people out there that have constructive criticism and I always appreciate that.
yeah.
Especially about opinions and whatnot and having actual discussions. But there's some people like I made a video that was like ranking every killer by aesthetic.
Mhm.
Um and there were people in the comments saying you should rank these based on objectivity, not your own opinions. And I'm like, it's
How?
aesthetic. Like you can't rank aesthetic by not using your own opinions. Like obviously it's opinion based. And people were mad at me that I didn't like certain types of music versus other types of music.
Oh my
And
god.
it was so weird. There was so much controversy in the comment section of that video because I like chocolate ice cream instead of vanilla ice cream,
Yeah. Oh
for
yeah, dude.
example. Like
Yeah. It is
it's
fucking
so weird.
insane, man. It is insane. I did a video on map opinions,
Mhm.
and my a map opinion tier list or some shit like that. And a comment I'll remember this comment for the rest of my life, but he said, "I was all with you until you got to Crotus Pin Asylum, and then I had to get up and start punching a wall." And I was like, "Brother, it is not that damn serious."
It's not.
It's just or
Yeah.
like my opinion when I said Wraith is the most boring killer to play in the
Mhm.
game, I had people sending me death threats, like telling me to off
Yeah.
myself because I don't have fun playing the fucking Wraith. I was like, you guys take this game way too goddamn seriously. Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, it's kind of the internet in general, but I've definitely noticed the DVD community is way more hostile.
And this is the first gaming community I've ever been with that's like that. Like, I don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I've seen people like take shit in a video game like too personally, like
Mhm.
before, but like in Apex Legends, for example, if you were like, yeah, I don't really like playing Bloodhound, no
Mhm.
Bloodhound main is going to fucking call you a slur because you don't like to play
Yeah.
Bloodhound. No one's doing that in Apex.
'Cause
No
who
one.
cares?
Yeah, it's like that does not happen in other community. It's so
Yeah.
wild to me, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I will never understand it. Like, just you could be so easily respectful
Mhm.
to other people and their opinions. Yeah, it's hard, like, especially considering most of my content is opinion based, just because that's stuff I like to watch because I find it interesting.
Yeah.
But like having to, because I like to read my comments, I like to kind of be a part of my community and respond to people. But when when all the top comments are just like bashing on you just
Yeah.
because you have a different opinion than them,
Yep.
it's just really frustrating,
It
and it
it
makes me just not want to engage with the community at all.
dude, and that's like that's something that I'm talking about in tomorrow's video. I even talked about it in
Mhm.
Monday's video. I said it's a video on pessimism in the DBD community. Where
Yep.
I was like, you guys just depress me sometimes. Like
Yep.
I used to be that YouTuber who was like in the comments and responding to as many people as I can and hearting stuff and trying to like have discussion chains in my comment section and stuff. And after
Mhm.
a while, I just slowly stopped because like it gets frustrating, man. It gets so
Yeah,
frustrating. You know,
for
I
sure.
you wake up and you know I wake up in the morning. I'll post a video and then I'll see because everything's scheduled for midnight my time. So before I go to bed at night, I'll see like some of the initial comments and I'll respond to some of those sometimes. But I'll wake up in the morning and I'll just start scrolling through and I get so because I want to be that. I want to be the creator that's engaged with everybody. And
Yep.
at this point, I just tell people if you want to like talk to me directly, you can either come to the Discord or come to Twitch because
Mhm.
you won't find me in my comment section as much anymore. I just can't be down there.
Yeah, it's awful.
It destroys you, man. One more question before we get to the community section. What was the feeling you had when you looked at your numbers and you realized how massive not only your view counts were, but your subscriber count as well?
I mean, it's unreal. Like, it's. I mean, mine was, I would say, more gradual than
Mm-hmm.
most. Like, a lot of people kind of blow up out of nowhere. Mine was definitely a lot more gradual. Partly because I had around 50,000 subscribers from my Fortnite content, and then when that died, obviously I would keep losing subscribers. So while I was growing in DBD, I was also losing subscribers. So
Mm-hmm.
numbers wise, it kind of evened out for a while. So that's why it made it more gradual. But yeah, I mean, like, it's when you really sit down and think about the numbers, it's insane. Like, multiple football stadiums of people watching your content at the same time. Like, that's super super strange.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. Like, I appreciate every single one of, everyone in the community that watches my videos and watches other creators videos and shares them with the community and stuff. um but yeah, like, it's it's kind of sad that the numbers become normalized when you're with them for so long.
Mm-hmm.
um which I know sounds like kind of arrogant, so to
Right.
speak, but it's like, deep down you really appreciate them, but after looking at it for a while, it sometimes feels like just a number, even though you know that it's not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely get it because like obviously somebody my size would obviously somebody my size would like at quote unquote kill to be where you're at.
Mm.
But then somebody your size might kill to be where Otz is at, and then somebody Otz's
Hmm.
size might kill to be where I don't know, fucking Ludwig or some shit, right? Like
Yeah, it never ends.
there's always another step, and if you it once you realize that, and the sooner you realize that, it gets a lot, I think, easier to deal with because like
Yep.
for a while, like not recently, but like back when I was an Apex streamer, I would get so upset at like
Hmm.
seeing other people bigger than me because it was just like,
Hmm.
what am I doing wrong? Like I never knew what I was doing wrong. And once I realized that even those people wonder what they're doing wrong because they're not as big as the next person up, I
Yep.
realized that what I needed to focus on more was myself. Unfortunately, by the time I realized that, I was in the DBD, you know. Not unfortunately, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's one of those things where you just you kind of grasp once you grasp that concept, the numbers, you know, when you hit those milestones, like I just hit 5K and it was like, oh dude, 5K is fucking sick. I'm happy.
Mhm.
I'm excited for it. I'm gonna be excited at 10, at 25K. If I ever get to 100K, you know, I'll be excited for that. But I know that there's always another step, so I can't let where I'm at now depress me, if that
Yep.
makes
For
sense.
sure. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I just I wrote that question because I was wondering if there's like ever a time, you know, once you realize that where you look at it and it's still unreal because I it's unreal to me where I'm at. So
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
does it ever
it
stop being
absolutely.
unreal?
It doesn't, like, yeah, you get kind of used to, your viewer count or subscriber count or whatever, because everyone does, like, that's human.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about, like, the numbers and analytics. The analytics don't matter. Like,
Right.
if if you get to one goal, you're just going to continue going to the next, like you were saying. Um, So if you're always chasing a goal, you're never really going to be happy, right? You
Yeah.
you need to put out content that you actually are proud of and that you enjoyed making, and then those are the goals to strive for.
Yeah.
Like creating these things that are going to exist on the internet forever for people to enjoy for completely free.
Mhm.
That is what really drives a YouTube channel in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's just it's one of those things where it's okay to have your goals because like
Yep.
one of my goals like it's I don't like it's so hard for me to express, but like what we're doing now, like I'm talking to you, that has been one of my goals for a long time
Mm.
because when I first started making Dead by Daylight content, I had no fucking idea who anybody in the space was. I didn't even know like what Dead by Daylight content consisted of. My earliest Dead by Daylight content was gameplay videos and shitty ones at that.
Mhm.
Um, but then when I started getting into commentary, people started name dropping everybody. So they were like Otstarva, Spooky Loops, and your name came up. And so I was like, let me go watch and see what, DBD content is actually about. And you've
Mhm.
been one of my inspirations for at least 8 months that I've been doing this. Like
Thank you.
it's so this was like literally the coolest fucking thing. And so it's cool to have those goals, right? Because like obviously I'm meeting mine, but understand that making it to those goals requires creating content you're proud of. Because
Exactly.
if you're just chasing algorithms all fucking day, you're not gonna make it, man. It's
For sure.
this algorithm
It's
isn't
gonna burn you out so fast.
so fucking fast, man. So fast.
Yeah.
So now we have some questions from the community. I pulled these directly from the community post. If you're watching on YouTube now and you want to be part of the next community questions, it's always good to not only pay attention to my community posts, but also to Twitter, which I can't post on right now because I got a 7-day ban for calling someone a stupid bitch. I gotta watch myself, bro. I get like really heated at certain things, and
Yeah.
then I say shit,
It
and
happens. It's DVD.
yeah, it was somebody was like, "Oh, if you rely on scratch marks, you're just bad at the game." And I'm like, "I'm deaf, you stupid bitch." And next thing I
That's so
know,
fair. That's such a
like
fair response,
yeah,
though.
and then next thing I know, I'm a 7-day ban, and I was like, "Okay." That's actually why I didn't post that the interview was happening today because I tried to post it the day it's happening, and then I
Uh-huh.
couldn't post it so because I was going to tag you and be like, "Hey, we're interviewing Kaido today, come by," and I couldn't do it, and I was like, "Okay, that's really fucking annoying."
That's hilarious.
So don't be surprised if your interview I'm gonna schedule this for Tuesday. So don't be surprised if you get tagged like Wednesday that the video went up because that's when the ban ends.
Sounds good.
Okay, so in our community section, our first question comes from that emergency alert system guy. Awesome name, by the way. Says, will we see any more perk combo videos?
Perk combo videos or perk idea videos?
I think
Because
they
I
meant
know,
perk idea videos.
yeah, because I know that was a series that I was doing way back when, a couple years ago that I just kind of stopped doing.
Hmm.
Honestly, yeah, probably. I think like I really enjoyed doing them. I honestly don't know why I stopped doing them, if I'm gonna be so real. But yeah, I might bring those back, see how they do. Because with the state of the game now compared to how it was 2 years ago, I'm sure there's a ton of ideas that have A, either come to fruition, or B, there's a ton of ideas that could be implemented as kind of the new types of perks, like the teamwork perks or
Invocation.
scourge hooks or yeah, exactly. So yeah, I might bring it back, see how it does.
Morgan says, I would just ask if he could reminisce about old Iron Will for a minute. We were both gutted when they nerfed it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was one of the most devastating nerfs of all time in my opinion. Um I think it was like one of the single survivor perks that made playing survivor 10 times more fun because without it you can't do a lot of the like quote unquote fun things about survivor that you can do in chases and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um So, for example, like with Iron Will, you could do window techs. You could do when you blind a killer at a pallet and then you walk through them. Um, you could do all sorts of flashlight save techs and whatnot. But now that it's not 100% silent, you can't do those anymore because you're so close to the killer that they're going to be able to hear you anyway, most likely. So yeah, that was devastating to me. And they nerfed it twice too. Like they have two different effects where um oh gosh, I can't even remember anymore. You can't use it while exhausted or something.
Yeah, you can't use it while exhausted, and it slows the opening of chests for no fucking reason.
No, isn't that Calm Spirit?
Oh no, it is
I think that's Calm
that is
Spirit.
Calm Spirit. You're right.
Yeah, that one's dumb too. I don't understand that. But yeah, Iron Will used to be like just one of the most fun survivor perks in the entire game. And I think they should revert one of the nerfs. Like either have it work while exhausted but be 75%, or make it back to 100% but not work while exhausted.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I mean, I'm deaf anyway, so like I literally I don't know like how much of a difference any of that stuff makes.
Right.
I rely solely on visual cues, but I feel like it being 100% but turns off while exhausted would be fine.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be
Yeah,
fine.
it's I don't know in today's state of the game how strong it would be because obviously it was like one of the most popular perks back then. But I feel like it's because it was fun. Well, it was perfect because it was perfect for the people who like to be in the killer's face and like to be chased, but it was also used by the people that like to avoid the killer and be stealthy. So I think that's why it had such a high use rate because it was just very versatile for playstyles. But yeah, I don't know. I personally thought it was balanced, but I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
Yeah, I have no idea. Carlos asks, if you could change anything about the Trickster and the Knight other than their presence in the game, what would you change?
Oh gosh.
I'm guessing those are your two hated.
Yeah. So I don't like anything in video games that you have essentially zero counterplay to, whether that be pure RNG or just something where the killer can press one button and then you're pretty much screwed. Obviously, there's like macro counterplay to these two killers. Like Trickster, you can position yourself better. You can be in certain areas, but the Trickster can also pull you towards areas by pressuring, by pulling or putting survivors on different hooks and whatnot. So when there's situations where there's quite literally nothing you can do, for example, being in the open against a Trickster or with Knight, like if he just drops one of his guards at a loop, from zoning you in the proper way, and you just can't really do anything because you can't, they walk through pallets, they walk through everything. So I don't know. It's just I don't personally find that very engaging. I feel like a lot of anti-loop killers that have come out within the past 2-3 years have just been so like mind-numbingly easy to get downs with. In the sense that not in the sense that they're easy killers to play, but in the sense that they don't require so much like thinking power.
Right.
As much as other more well-designed anti-loop killers like Huntress or Demo or even Wesker. Like I think Wesker, although it's not exactly the most anti-loop killer in the world, but
Yeah,
I
more
still
of a chase
consider to
killer,
him.
but yeah.
Yeah. Like in my opinion, the perfect anti-loop killer has telegraphed, like very, very telegraphed ways of dealing with them. So the Huntress with her wind-up time.
Pyramid Head.
Pyramid Head, yeah, Pyramid Head's a great example. And actually, that's a perfect example. Same with Deathslinger, because when they came out, they had no counterplay. Like they could put away their sword for Pyramid Head so quickly, or on ADS as Deathslinger so quickly that if you were going towards a window, no matter what you did, you got hit. You either faked the window and then they just put away their weapon and then you got M1'd, or you got shot through the window. And DBD changed that. Like they nerfed those specific situations, and now they're actually fun to play against. At least in my opinion, or at least more fun than they were, back then.
I find both of them
now,
incredibly fun.
Yeah, for sure. And now there's so many killers that that's kind of their entire kit is they're very bad in the macro sense, but very, very strong and oppressive in chase.
Mhm.
Um, like to the point where even in my opinion, that Nurse has some more interesting counterplay than these do.
That
Um,
that is that is a brave statement, and you should say it. I
yeah, I
I
mean,
I I 100% agree. Like I
mhm,
hate the idea that people think Nurse has no counterplay because she does. It's just complicated counterplay.
yeah,
It's
it's very,
it's
very difficult
it is she is the killer in the game that requires you to pay the most amount of attention
for
because you
sure.
need to see where she's facing. You need to understand she's what the reason I like Nurse and her counterplay so much is because you have to understand the killer to understand the counterplay. If
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
understand how she works, you're not going to do anything.
Hmm.
You're not going to get away with it. So you almost have to play Nurse to know how to play against her.
Hmm. Well, and
And that's why I like her so much.
I think that's why a lot of people don't like playing against even the Hag, because nobody plays her because she's so difficult to play as.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know about difficult, but she's more complex than most characters,
Yeah.
and they don't learn how to counter her. I mean, it's the same with like the new Skull Merchant. Like so many people just still DC or kill themselves on Hook just because they have Skull Merchant has the bad rep that she had from when she
Yeah.
came out. And people just don't want to learn the new version, which I haven't even learned to begin with because I don't play DBD as much anymore. But
Right.
um, it still gets my point across. I hope.
Yeah, no, I definitely get you because like I feel the same way about like I'm not a Skull Merchant lover. I'm also not a Skull Merchant hater, but I do think
Mhm.
that of the two groups, the haters are the more unreasonable bunch because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, how is crouching and standing still in lasers a counterplay? And it's like, because it is. I know you don't
Mhm.
like it as a counterplay, but it is, and you just have to understand that. Well, what do you do if she's W keying at you? What do you do if any killer's W keying at you? Like zone. That's how zoning killers work.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where she's W keying at you and her power is about to hit you, you have to choose one. That's how a shitload of killers in the game work. But
Mhm.
I think with Trickster, I know this is a question for you, but I think with Trickster, they just need to put him back to where he was.
I don't think that Trickster is fixable. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think he just has a fundamental design issue where he's just a worse, less fun version of the Huntress. Because on the killer's end, he he feels very slow and clunky, and the recoil is really weird.
Hmm.
Um, I know that they've kind of made it smoother and better a bit as time has gone on, but from the survivor's perspective, getting hit by each of those knives just feels so awful,
Hmm.
even though they're not necessarily doing anything individually.
Yeah.
Even just getting hit with one knife just feels terrible. Especially in a game where there's not a lot of cover on most maps.
Yeah.
Um, and some of the loops he can just throw over to begin with, so like you just can't use a majority of the map. Um, I don't know. It just promotes a lot of hold W gameplay, and I don't find that fun on Killer or Survivor. It's just not very interactive.
I think you might enjoy talking with Revium. He
Mhm.
was a Trickster main. He's boycotting Trickster because he hates the state of Trickster. But he did an entire rework concept for Trickster on
Oh, really?
on the forums. Yeah. After this, I'll DM you his post. I need to go get it from him. But he did an entire rework, and it was really good. I read it over. It was in it. I think it solves a lot of the issues.
Mhm.
But the feeling you're talking about with the knives, I understand where you're coming from on that because like it feels like you're just getting barraged, and it's like,
Yeah,
what am I supposed to
and
do?
there,
Like all you
yeah,
can
it
do
feels
is
like there's nothing you can do.
yeah, you go left and right and hope that works.
Yep.
It's it's shit. Um, but the knight? I think the knight just needs like all of his guards need to do individual things. I firmly
Mhm.
believe that the assassin is the only guard that should chase.
I agree.
And then like
Yeah.
Carfax is like should only be for breaking shit. And
Mhm.
then Jailer could like apply, I don't know, like a hinder or some shit in his zone. I haven't thought about it yet. I want to do a knight rework video. But I think each of the knights should do something different. and then you switch. You can manually swap between them.
Yeah.
Right? Because right now they just feel interchangeable. Like technically they're different, but they're also not.
I almost feel like they could learn from Vecna
Yeah.
and how all of his abilities, have their own cooldowns, but you can switch between them.
Hmm.
I think that would be that could be, not will be, because I don't know, but it could be a really interesting way to do the knight,
Yeah.
being able to switch between guards like that. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I've talked about that before on some videos where I think that they should all be way stronger at their unique personalities
Yep.
or gameplay, I guess, not personalities, but um, yeah, instead of all just kind of being used for chase and then the occasional like palette break with Carnifex and whatnot. So yeah, I completely agree there.
So, Throngler has yet another question. You were asked about bringing back the original perks earlier. Throngler wants to know if you're going to do another rendition of fun add-ons for killers.
I honestly would like to. That was one of the most fun videos I've ever made. It was like, I don't know, it's really fun to just come up with the most absurd concepts that are obviously stupidly broken and stupidly overpowered or underpowered, but are just straight up fun and dumb. And I would like to do that because it was received well and people also had fun watching it. And I had a ton of fun making it. So yeah, I might do another one in the future for sure.
I look forward to it. I enjoyed that video. What was when you did that one? What was the one where you came up with an add-on that already existed? Which
Oh,
killer was?
that was Trapper.
Yeah,
With the silent traps.
yeah,
Although, well, so I've had two of these videos.
yeah.
Um, One of them was like it was like a quote unquote fun add-on idea, and that
Mhm.
was me trying to make things that could potentially work in DBD and were like more balanced. Like I was trying to be a little bit more balanced with that. But then I did one hilarious add-on idea for every DBD killer, and that's when I just went full like nonsensical stuff that would
Yeah.
never work in DBD. Like with the night add-on in that one, I had it be a completely different game in its entirely. So yeah, I might do another one of those. They were pretty fun.
Side note about a different game. I think that's one
Mhm.
of my favorite things about Vecna is that you're playing a different fucking game with Vecna.
Yeah.
Because like you got to search for magic items and you got to fucking Vecna himself has like 4 fucking powers and is it
Mhm.
you're we're not playing we're playing a fan made version of Dead by Daylight. It's so fucking
Yeah,
fun, dude.
exactly.
It's so funny. I love
I
it.
haven't actually been on the PTB at all, so I haven't gotten a chance to experience it yet.
I can't wait till you play it, man. It's so fun.
Yeah, it
Um,
seems like a fun killer to learn for
he
sure.
is. He is. DJ Nix asks, "What cosmetic collab would you love for DBD to add, and who is your favorite lore-wise survivor?"
Ooh. Lore I know nothing about, so I unfortunately cannot answer that question. Like I literally don't know the lore of I think any survivors except for some licensed survivors. Cosmetics? That is a really good question. I haven't actually thought about that much. I would love to see some Little Nightmares cosmetic
Ooh.
or cosmetic set. Little Nightmares is one of my favorite games. It's it's I don't know how well it would work in DBD, obviously
Mm-hmm.
because they're small people,
Yeah.
but they had Yuichi be an adult in this game when he was a
Yeah.
child in the movie. Um, at least that's what I know. I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
I feel like they could do something similar. Either that or honestly COD Zombies. I don't know how well that would work in DBD because it's more like fantasy. But horror is horror.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter the genre, so to speak. But I I don't know. I think COD Zombies is what I've had the most experience with in gaming in its entirety. Like I've played so much more zombies than pretty much any other game. So I would love to see certain iconic characters from that come to DBD. I feel like that'd be pretty sick.
I feel you on that one. Mine is Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah.
I never watched Scooby Doo that much, so
Oh my god. And I
I
think
know.
you're far younger than me. I'm 30, so
Mhm.
I grew
Yeah.
up and
Sorry,
so
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm only about to turn 21
Yeah.
in a week.
You're still a baby to me, man. But no, I've been watching. I grew up on the 60s version of Scooby Doo. Like I was
Oh.
when I was a kid, we didn't have like we couldn't afford like cable and stuff. So my mom
Mhm.
just had like old VHSs of the original Scooby
Right.
Doo and shit. And so I've been in love with Scooby Doo for like my me falling in love with goth women was because of the Hex Girls in one of the movies, The Witch's Ghost.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's I did an entire video on cosmetics from Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. It was really fun.
So
Oh,
were they just movies in the 60s or was it also a show?
no. So it started off as a TV show in the 60s. And then we got in the I believe the early 90s we got a pup named Scooby Doo. And then
Oh.
after that was What's New Scooby Doo. And then in between those were certain movie like tie-ins. So we had one of my favorites was Scooby Doo meets the Wolfman, where
Mhm.
Shaggy becomes a werewolf. Then there was Scooby Doo in the Monster School or the Ghoul School. I can't remember which one, but Shaggy and Scooby became teachers to the children of famous monsters, like Dracula's daughter and the werewolf's daughter and stuff like that. And then in my childhood, there was a set of movies: Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Scooby Doo and Zombie Island, Scooby Doo and Alien Invaders, and Scooby Doo Cyber Chase, and that was from the late 90s to early 2000s. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and those were like some of my favorite movies of all time. They were so well done. If you ever want to get into Scooby Doo, I highly
Mhm.
suggest Scooby Doo and Zombie Island is considered the best one. My personal favorite is Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. It's just
Awesome.
a great set of cartoons, very funny, very investigative. I like mysteries. Mysteries are my favorite.
Yeah.
So kids mysteries, I have the entire Hardy Boys book collection.
Mhm.
Mystery is like
Yeah, you
my
started those.
yeah, it's my partner genre. So like I love horror. Horror is my favorite genre, and then
Mhm.
mystery is like right next to it. So
So them
it's
mixing is perfect.
yeah, yeah, it's great, man. Melon asks, who is your killer main and why?
So I actually have this weird thing where I can't play the same killer twice in a row. Um, I always in any game that I play, I like to be, as well versed as possible and play as many people as possible. So whether that be Overwatch or Siege, I play pretty much every single character aside from
Hmm.
a few that I just find super boring to play.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so I don't necessarily have a main. I would say some people that I play the most are definitely Huntress is up there. I love going for cross maps and that the whole kind of first person shooter esque nature
Hmm.
of her,
Yeah.
along with Deathslinger and going for cool shots through cracks and whatnot. I find that really fun just because I grew up on Call of Duty, so I have a lot of an FPS background. Um, and then I don't know. A lot of killers that are fast paced, I enjoy. So Blight, Wesker's fun. I really like the Unknown because it's a mix between Hag and Huntress, which are two of my favorite killers. I honestly like playing Wraith, which I know you absolutely hate,
I
but
fucking
um, I
hit
like playing
Bell, hit
Wraith.
Survivor, hit Bell, hit
Yeah,
Survivor, hit Bell, kick Gen, hit Bell, hit Survivor.
for
It's so
sure, for
bored, so
sure.
fucking
No,
boring.
I totally understand why it's boring, but I like how the add-ons completely change the play style.
Hmm.
So you can either do the, super fast vaulting, or you can do the super fast kicking, or you can do Silent Bell spooky wraith stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've stopped playing wraith a bit lately, just because I'm not, it is so simple that it gets a little repetitive.
Yeah.
Um, I hate playing killers where like killers that I hate playing against, I tend to also hate playing as,
Hmm.
because I just don't find them rewarding. Like I hate playing Spirit. I feel like, um, to me, she's just so easy to get downs with. Like she's so it. It's like she's very very strong with little to no thinking required.
Yeah.
Um, I do actually really like playing Nurse. I don't necessarily like playing against nurses, but I do like playing Nurse because I feel like it's a lot more satisfying to pull off like really cool shots and
Yeah.
whatnot and predictions. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I like to play a wide variety of killers.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Like I was maining Billy up until recently. I'm
Mm,
boycotting Billy for a very similar reason that Rev is boycotting Trickster. And it's because I'm sick and tired of hitboxes being absolute dog shit, like
yeah.
collision fucking me. Like I didn't have a main all this time I played
Mm,
Dead by Daylight, and then like a month and a half, 2 months ago, I started playing new Billy when I came back from my 3 month hiatus, and
mhm.
I fell in love with the character, and I like hard grinded him and learned him, and then like over time, every time I'd bang off of thin air, or I'd get
Yep.
crouch teched, or I would clearly hit a survivor because like my character model would stop for a second because I
Mhm.
collided with them, and then it would keep going because it just decided I wasn't going to hit them. Like every single time one of those things happened, it just built and built and built and built and built, and
Yep.
I fucking snapped. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
It's
And
so frustrating.
so like now I'm back to not having a main. Now I just jump around and play who
Mm,
the ever. But I also have killers I don't play. I don't play Spirit because I can't hear.
yeah.
I don't play Wraith because I find him incredibly boring. I find Bubba boring to play as well. Um, but there are some killers that are fun to play, terrible to play
Mhm.
against. I love
Yeah.
playing Legion. I cannot stand playing
Mm.
Mending Mania on the NES. I fucking I hate playing against Legion. It's honestly like I hate playing against Spirit because I can't hear, so I can't play against her at
Mhm.
all. But outside of that, my most hated killer to play against is Legion. I find Legion to be the single most boring killer to play against in this entire fucking game.
Interesting. See, I'm the complete opposite. I actually like playing against Legion more than I like playing as them. Purely because they have to actually chase you.
Hmm.
Obviously there are some legions that play in a very, very boring way where they just constantly make you mend and they never
Yeah.
actually commit to any chases.
Yep.
That stuff that is really boring. Like when they're only getting downs by the off chance that you're out of position and they're not actually going for chases. But I don't know. I miss when chases were the main part of this game, and now it's no longer about chases. It's just about gen control and map control, which
Hmm.
I don't find as fun.
Right.
But yeah, that's interesting.
That is that we both have both have a different view on that.
Mhm.
Um, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. It's spelled Hgar, but Hagar says, "Will there be another episode of the Manhunt series?"
Yeah, so I definitely would want to do that. The problem with those is that they are extremely hard to pull off. For one, because it ends up being a 3 to 5 hour recording session with other creators, and they have their own things that they need to be doing, and also time zones
Hmm.
makes it really difficult. On top of having to get good games, half of DBD is just terrible games where the killer either slugs everyone or tunnels off a first hook or,
Hmm.
face camps, and that kind of ruins the entire game mode.
Right.
Um, so we have to just immediately scrap those. On top of the fact that it takes me super long to edit because I really like to turn it into more of a cinematic experience than just a video.
Yep.
Um, and like for example, I did one with Aughts. That was my most recent one a year ago, most recent.
Yeah.
But um, it was I did like some batch recording during the Halloween event last year.
Hmm.
Um, or honestly, no, it was probably the year before. It was probably 2022. Um, and so many of the comments because this came out. All right, let me check. Actually, it came out February.
Hmm.
So it was recorded during the Halloween event and came out in February. And so many people were complaining that I just had this video backlogged and I just never uploaded it. And it was so weird. Like, people were complaining that I recorded this in October and didn't post it till February. These things take months to edit. Like, I have a life, and these things also, it's 4 hours of gameplay multiplied by 4 because there's 4 survivors.
Right.
On top of like the
Oh.
intense editing that has to go into it.
Dude.
So yeah, that's just like really demotivating. Like, people can't just appreciate the video for what it is. Who cares that it's during a Halloween event?
Yeah.
That doesn't change anything.
I am reminded of so you're probably familiar with Epic Rap Battles of History, right?
I have heard the name, but
okay,
not necessarily.
So they are probably one of my favorite bands of all time. They take quote unquote historical figures and put them in rap battles against each other. It's
Gotcha.
actually very factual, like surprisingly, like they get the facts correct of that. So it's really cool. But they did a video called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus the Renaissance Painters that they were named after. And it was like a 3-minute rap, I think, or something like that. And they posted it years ago, but a comment on that video stuck with me, like for this entire time. The video, the comment said, "I didn't like this. Do it again." And it was like, dude, these don't take 5 minutes to make, bro. Like, they dress up in costumes and they're green screen like backgrounds and they're switching scenes. Like, this isn't, it's not 2 guys sitting at a microphone with a camera pointed at them. It's like legitimate full on production. Like, bro, these things take months to make. The fuck you mean do it again?
Do it again. Oh my gosh.
I was
that sums up the whole community. I mean, even like I also notice that I do that sometimes with like the devs of DBD. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm more complaining than being constructive.
Yeah.
But like game development, like people that don't do game development don't realize how difficult it actually is. It is one of the hardest. Like, I've only been kind of studying game dev for like a year. It is one of the hardest things I've ever tried to learn in my life. Yeah. Like, it is. It takes hours, if not days, to just make the simplest of things.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out bugs in like a giant game and getting them fixed. Like, people complained about, like, I think you actually mentioned this in one of your recent videos about the strobing bug that was with UE5 and how they patched it within like probably a week. What was that your video?
Yep, that was me. Yep.
Yeah, so you were talking about how oh gosh, what did you say?
Somebody said so when the fix came out, and I was like, God, dude, they did this really, they actually took care of this. This is great. We should be praising them for taking care of the problem. Somebody was like, no, they should have had it done in 2 days. And I was like, you just don't understand how this shit works. Like, that is not how you don't press a fucking button that says fix the problem. That's not how game development. And like, I've never been a game developer, but I know everything I know about like how coding works from a coder friend of mine. Like, he's never shown me, he's just told me about how coding works. And just from that alone, I can tell you that fixing problems in code is a fucking nightmare.
It's awful. You could have one period in the wrong place and it breaks the entire thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I will never forget that comment. Like, 2 days, like that's how long you think it takes to find a bug? Because I guarantee you, they were working around the clock on that shit. Like,
the way people, because that's like a huge legal thing. Too.
Yeah, like the way people were talking, they were like, "Oh, why haven't they fixed it yet?" Like, I'm guarantee you, they're asking themselves the same fucking question. They're sitting there stressed out in their 14th cup of coffee with some Monster Energy at 2:00 in the morning, going, "Where the fuck is the problem?" Like, it frustrates.
Well,
me,
and
man.
it could be things that are out of their control too. Like, it could just be a bug with the new engine,
Yeah,
and they wouldn't know until they speak to some people at Epic or something. I don't know. It's definitely more complicated than people give it credit for sure.
Exactly. Mr. Cookie Cutter asks, would you want to see Nightmare Before Christmas with Oogie Boogie as the killer?
I'm actually not a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas,
There's
to
no
be
shot,
completely
Kaido.
honest.
You're not. You. Oh
I
my god.
I don't dislike it. So I definitely wouldn't be against it.
Hmm.
I would have to see how it would work because it's a very different aesthetic
Yeah.
than DBD. But I trust Behavior. I think Behavior's art team does a phenomenal job. I think they're one of
Probably
the
the.
best teams.
Yeah. Definitely.
um, like they do a great job at making things work. So I think like I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah. No. That I was heartbroken, dude. That's my favorite Disney movie of all time.
Oh, was it? I'm so sorry.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. I can understand why some people are put off by it, for
Hmm.
sure. But yeah, no, I actually know who Cookie Cutter is. They come in the chat all the time, and
Oh yeah.
we were talking about that, and I was like, yeah, no, it'd be cool. I personally think it probably will never happen, just because Disney
Hmm.
is very asinine about their properties.
Yep.
But it would, I would honestly just love so many different collabs. Like I think Dungeons and Dragons is just opening up a revenue of like
Hmm.
exciting possibilities to
For
come to
sure.
this game. And like I think all the little whiny babies who are like, it's not horror enough. I think we will be gaining so much more as a community if those people decided they didn't like it. I think
Absolutely.
I think we'd gain so much more. Like there's so many new avenues opening up, and I can't
Mhm.
wait. I can't wait to see what this game's at in 5 years.
For
It's
sure.
it's going to be exciting.
I mean, like even if you didn't like the Halloween movies, for example, just having that single license to show other companies what they could do,
Hmm.
since that was the first one. Yeah, I mean, it's the same with Dungeons and Dragons, like,
Yep.
because that's not. I mean, I don't really know much about D&D, but I know that it's not necessarily a movie or a game. I mean, I know they have a
Yeah.
movie, but
Yeah.
it's more of the game, right?
Yeah, it's a concept that this is the coolest thing. I could go on about Dungeons and Dragons for hours, but
Mhm.
it's my favorite hobby of all time. The coolest thing about Dungeons and Dragons is that it can be anything you want it to be. You want to
Yeah.
run a murder mystery campaign, you can. You want to run a horror campaign, you can. You want to run a high fantasy campaign, you can. You want to run
Mhm.
a fucking isekai campaign, you can. Like the rule set of the game is there for the pure intents and purposes of giving you structure to go with your creativity.
Yeah.
And so it's such an open to interpretation type of deal that it's getting this as a license is insane. They could have gone with anybody, and
Mhm.
unlike something like RE, Resident Evil, or Stranger Things or whatever, where we can probably do stuff and get the big bads from a few seasons, Dungeons and Dragons has 50 years of history behind it, of
Yeah.
villains and characters, and like we could get so much out of this license. I don't think people understand like the cool ass shit we could end up with
Mhm.
as both killers and survivors. Like Vecna is mark my words, it may take a couple years, 3 4 whatever, but within the next 5 years, mark my words, this license is going to lead to some of the most creative characters we've ever seen in this game and ever will
Yeah.
see.
I could see that. I mean, Vecna's a good example too. Like
Mhm. It was like
just watching gameplay,
yeah.
he looks so sick. Like he looks so cool to play.
Eh,
And making a radial menu work in DVD
yeah.
gameplay is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's and like I was saying earlier, when Vecna's involved, everybody in the trial is playing a different fucking game.
Yeah.
Everybody in the trial is playing a different game. The killer is playing a different game because we have no other killer that works like Vecna does.
Mhm.
None. And then survivors are playing a different game because not only are you having to like go search these special chests for items, but you could end up with a mimic that damages and traps you. You could also end up with items that do perk level effects. Like
Mhm.
it's insane the way this character
Yeah.
works, Brett. It's crazy.
Yeah, I actually don't know about the survivor items. Like I know they exist, but doesn't one of them allow you to go into a locker and teleport to a completely different part of the map?
Yeah, it's so funny. So, what happens when you search a chest is the game rolls a d20 in the background, which it actually shows
Mhm.
you on screen, which is cool. If you roll a 1, the mimic comes out and bites you and damages you and stuff. If you
Yep.
roll a 2 to something else or the other, um, you get just normal DBD items. And then if you roll high, you get magic items specifically made to like see the Vecna's abilities. But
Hmm.
then if you roll a 20, you can either get the Hand of Vecna, which once you equip it, you dash into a locker and then dash out of another locker across the map with
Hmm.
minus a health state. So you have to be healthy to do
Oh,
it.
okay.
And then the Eye of Vecna, you dash into a locker and then you sacrifice a health state. But when you come out of the locker, you're completely invisible. You leave no scratch marks. You make no sounds. You leave no blood pools.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it
That's
is
so sick.
yeah, yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. It's so went like the more I talk about this chapter, the more I like geek out about it because it's
Hmm.
so fucking creative and it really what I love about it is I've been critical of behavior for the past like probably month or so about how safe they
Hmm.
like to play things, and
Yeah.
this chapter is anything but safe.
Yeah.
It is so
It's
creative.
nothing.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
risks and I'm so proud of behavior as a dev
Hmm.
team for it.
Yeah. I definitely think they need to start taking risks like these. I feel like they've had a good streak going of making killers like super fun to play.
Mhm.
I know that Chucky's not exactly the most fun killer to play against, but I feel like, you know, with the unknown especially, I think that was one of the most balanced, most fun killers on both sides that they've come
Mhm.
out with.
Oh,
On top
100%.
of trying to go back to horror too,
Yep.
um, and like taking risks with implementing horror elements into the gameplay too. Um, I mean, it has similar elements to other people, like the reveal mechanic and you know teleporting and stuff. But yeah, definitely Vecna is so different.
Yeah. It's just
So yeah,
it's
I
a
agree with you.
completely different game.
Hmm.
Noob King asks, if for some reason you couldn't make Dead by Daylight content anymore, what type of content would you make, if any?
That is a really good question. I would try to stick to the gaming niche because that's just what I really enjoy, and I feel like there's a lot of creativity that can be applied to it. Um, Unfortunately, I don't know what game I would do. Ideally, I'd make COD Zombies content, but COD Zombies is so bad now that you can only make content on the old stuff that people actually like to watch.
Hmm.
And even then, it'd be such a small niche that the growth potential there is just like zero because it's so old.
Yep.
But I don't know, like maybe Siege. I really wouldn't want to be a part of the Siege community if I'm gonna be so real, but Siege has so much to learn, and you know it's first person shooter, and I like first person shooters. So yeah, probably that honestly. Um, and then of course, like the nuclear backup option is Minecraft because there it's unlimited creative potential.
Oh, it really is.
Um,
I almost thought about doing Minecraft for a
mhm.
while.
Yeah, and I'm not even that big of a Minecraft person, but
Mhm.
just the pure fact that you can do literally anything is what makes it so appealing as YouTube content. Like some of the best YouTube content I've ever seen has been Minecraft content.
Oh yeah. I am addicted to 100 Days Hardcore Survivor
Mhm.
um Minecraft videos. Like those guys do an amazing job of like keeping your
Yeah.
attention for hours.
See, I haven't even watched any of those.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah, if you just do I survived 100 days in hardcore
Mhm.
Minecraft or something like that, it's some of the best content you'll ever see. It's great,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Yeah, some of the ones that I've really enjoyed. Do you know Ish,
I do not
the
know.
YouTuber? He made this like 1000 Minecraft players simulate civilization. He does like those kind of
Oh, yeah,
videos,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they were some of the most like insanely well made, essentially movies.
Mhm.
And it was such a unique concept, I don't know if he came up with the concept, but the way he does it, it's so well made, and there's like a story arc to it, but it's not scripted, and it's just really cool to see how a video game Minecraft civilization literally replicates what happens in real life civilizations. Like they create their own economies, they start wars, they have spies. Like it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not even a huge like I don't even really like history. I don't. It's probably one of my least favorite subjects, but it's still so interesting how it kind of replicates history.
Oh
You know?
yeah, yeah. Society, the human psyche is one of my favorite subjects, and
Mhm.
it's very interesting how consistent the human psyche is.
Yeah.
It's very like how we act as a society, how we act with each other, how we act in response to certain situations, like how
Mhm.
consistent we are from person to person is more than I think people think. Because like obviously we're all our own individual people, but like there's very specific things that just we've known will happen in certain situations.
Mhm.
It's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Our last community question before we get to our final wrap up stuff for today is from Toucan, and they ask, which of your videos is your least favorite and why?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I'll try to stick to DBD videos. So let me actually just scroll through really quick. I mean, I don't. Hmm. That's hard because I try not to put out content that I just don't like.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's more. I think like more what happens is when you regret videos, because like
yeah.
that's what happened. I have a lot of videos I regret.
I mean, there are some videos that I wish I just could have spent more time on.
Hmm.
So I kind of regret a lot of that. But there's not. I don't really know if there's. I mean, probably some of my older DBD content, but I just don't really remember them.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm looking through now. There's not really anything that I remember heavily disliking. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I mean, probably probably some gameplay videos where it was just like stream highlights. Um, just because that was back when I like wasn't very entertaining and whatnot. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. It's kind of hard because a lot of it's just like tier lists or ranking content, which is
hmm,
just it's kind of hard to dislike it just because it's like it's not really it's just kind of there. It's
yeah.
not something you're like supposed to necessarily like or dislike.
Yeah,
Um,
it's there just to kind of give an opinion on something, not
yeah,
it's they don't have substance, which is why like even
yeah,
though
exactly.
I used to make tier lists a lot, I
Mhm,
stopped for reasons I said in a video a while back, but
mhm,
even I would admit during those videos like this is low effort. Like
mhm.
I'm doing this for the sake of putting out content. Like
Right.
it's yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I guess then the question is which one do you like the least if you like all of them? Like which one
There's
would you do again?
there's one video that I actually deleted um within the past few months, and it was really unfortunate because I actually loved how the video turned out. It was one of the videos I was most proud of. Um, but it got like 10% of the views that all of my other videos get. And it
Mhm.
was essentially playing the game upside down and like trying to overcome that challenge. Um,
I missed that one. I would have loved to seen that.
mhm. I mean, I have it unlisted, so I can send it to you if you want. But it's the reason it did so poorly is because it's nauseating at first.
Mhm.
And I if I remember correctly, I mentioned that like it's hard to get used to, but once you get used to it, it was so interesting to play. And it was one of my favorite videos I've ever made, just because I well, a I had to sound design the entire thing because my game audio didn't record, so that was fun. Um, but I don't know, I put in a lot of effort into it, and then
Mhm.
it just flopping so hard, I just felt like I just needed to delete it just because I was worried about it impacting other videos.
Yeah.
Um, but I still have it unlisted for those people that wanna watch it. So I didn't dislike the video itself, but I disliked the fact that I didn't realize that people wouldn't wanna watch that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I put so much effort into something that people don't want to watch.
Yeah. I definitely feel you on that one.
Mhm.
That's how I feel about my analysis videos. Like I'm still doing them because like I'm kind of hoping one will like take off, but
Mhm.
putting weeks of research and script writing and editing and then just to have them like maybe hit 1,200 views is very discouraging.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, I feel that.
oh man, it's crazy. But that's all our questions. So I do have two more things to ask you. The first one is what characters would you like to see for the B-roll footage for your interview?
Ooh.
It could be one character, it could be multiple.
I
Um,
would say, I mean, maybe Hag for the first part since we're talking about Hag.
yep.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm down for whatever. Anything fast paced, really. Blight, Oni, Demogorgon,
Okay.
any of that stuff. Huntress,
We
anything works.
we haven't done uh we haven't done demo and hag in any of these, so I think I'll probably grab those.
Okay, perfect.
And then the last thing is there anything that you have like one final thing left to say to the people watching on Twitch or on the YouTube video in the future?
Hmm. I would say just try to be more respectful. And this doesn't necessarily have to be DBD related. Like just in general, respect is like, I know this is so off topic, but it's such a big thing. And just like we live in a world that's so aggressive and so like with social media and stuff, everyone's so angry at each other all the time. And I just I hope that people can realize that other people have different opinions and that you can coexist without having to fight about things. You know what I mean? Um, I'm looking at you, DVD Twitter, but um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like everyone should just be nicer to each other, and you can let people make mistakes and grow from it, which social media does not like to do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's really it. I don't know if you have any other
Uh,
specific questions.
the last thing that we always do here on the channel is if you want to join me in thanking our channel members for all their additional support. And if you guys want to become a channel member and get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you all so much, and I'm sure Kaido does as well. And we will see
Absolutely.
you in the next one. Can't get enough daily Dead by Daylight content? Then check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload gameplay footage, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also have a new short that goes live every single day, so you can catch up on all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.